thirst.
Good morning and happy Deadpool 2 day here at ScreenJunkies Universe. I have assembled a team of geniuses to talk about this trailer today. Dan Murrell is here, Spencer Gilbert, Joe Starr waking up. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Roth, Cornet. We're going to talk about Deadpool 2. One of the Avengers says he's leaving after Avengers 4. Dun, dun, dun. That's surprising. Spielberg. Is he going to digitally enhance more of his films, Dan? We'll find out at the end of the show. You have to stay tuned. First of all, if you want to talk Deadpool 2 with us, go watch the trailer. Come back here. We're going to talk about it. We're going to pull up some images and things like that. What'd you think?
That was a good trailer. Yeah. I mean, all right. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Deadpool's for 16-year-old boys. He's a power fantasy. His bad skin gets covered up with a cool mask. He gets to kill people. He's got a hot girlfriend. He's got guns. You can't touch him. He cracks all the cool dick jokes at the coolest times. And this is just the best version of that possible. Like, they are nailing Deadpool again.
All right.
The surprise is gone because we already saw Deadpool 1. Like, there's not the shock of like, oh my God.
Like, he said balls.
Yeah, oh my God, they got him to say balls. But man, he's saying balls just right for round 2.
There's no one that knows how to say balls better
than
Ryan Reynolds. I would argue that.
He's a Picasso with the penis words.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's very few people that penis like him. Dan, what'd you think?
Lots of action. Lots of plot, it would appear. More so, perhaps, than the first movie. A little universe building with a wink and a nod, but also not. I think that's the thing I'm most curious about with this movie is they dropped X-Force. I did not expect them to drop X-Force in the trailer. Just like boom, we're doing X-Force. So they are doing some universe building in the sense that, like, I doubt that they're going to build X-Force to never use in a movie again, or Cable to never use in a movie again. So I am curious to see how this very self-referential, self-aware franchise deals with the task of actual meaningful character or universe building inside of the movie. I think that's going to be an interesting balancing act that I'm looking forward to seeing. But yeah, I'm with Spencer. Like, this is the best version of Deadpool that we could have gotten, and looks like they're doing the same thing. I liked him doing the jazzy thing in Professor X's wheelchair. That looks like a fun beat. I think it looks like more of what we got in Deadpool, but also I think the X Factor or the X-Force is how they're going to build on it, because it doesn't seem like the best fit. So
I immediately thought of the reality program. 2 questions for you, Joe. One, Spencer's thesis is that this is for 16-year-old boys. So what does it say about myself that I really love it? And 2, were you surprised? I think the last trailer I didn't feel was as Deadpool-y. It felt like this weird mix where they were introing Cable.
The Cable intro trailer, sure. Well, to your first question, I think, everyone has a little bit of an inner 16-year-old boy somewhere, on the spectrum of who they are. So, in that way, Deadpool is for all of us. Deadpool's for the children.
But also not.
But also not.
For the children.
Yeah, also, except for the children whose parents are really cool and let them read R-rated videos because they're divorced and are...
They need some reason way to get the kid on their side.
Remember, I let you watch Deadpool. I get you this Saturday. What was the second question?
Well, this one felt way more like Deadpool to me. It felt more like the tone of the film.
Yeah, I think the Cable one was because I think that was another non-government sanctioned X Factor. The government sanctioned team. The word X Factor is. The other X Factor was pulling off Cable. And I just got pulled to the table. I'm very tired. The other X Factor was Cable and whether or not they're going to be able to pull him off. So I think they felt like they needed to do like one sort of Cable-centric thing that's like, we got it. We get it. He's the gruff Clint Eastwood straight man to this douchebag 16-year-old with katanas. We get the tone. We get the pairing. So now they get to come back and say, also, we get the whole movie with the Deadpool 2 trailer.
Very well.
I was excited that it was pretty action balanced, I thought. I was worried that it might just be like purely Ryan Reynolds talking to the camera. and making jokes, but it looks like there's a lot of really cool action. That the hand catching the gun and the gun through the hand.
Yeah, and action in different locations, not just a bridge.
Yeah.
Like the last time.
Well, I think they have a little more money this time.
Just a
They have a
little.
little more money to play around
Yeah,
with.
you took a little heat. I remember when the Deadpool came out, the first trailer, we had a panel, and people were just like, I don't know, I'm not really. You were one of them. People were like, how dare you? Like, I remember your big thing was that looked like Bridgepool. I agree. It looks like many locations.
They did fight on 2 different bridges.
They
Well,
did.
The
I
bridge of a
think-
ship and the bridge of a bridge.
Yeah, well, you know what? They made those 3 locations.
Oh, they stretched it.
Yeah, like that's the thing that impressed me about that movie is that they made 3 locations and a really, really minimal stakes plot entirely work.
Oh yeah.
But they have a little more money, and I think they're putting it, looks like, to good use. Let's pull up a few things that we noticed in this trailer. First of all, you brought this up. Like, they're not backing up. They're like, oh yeah, X-Force. There is potentially a Drew Goddard helmed X-Force in the works, so maybe that's a little further along the ways. That's exciting. You also mentioned the Professor X chair cameo. I have some questions for us. We'll get to why he's in heels. I assume to feel sexy, but want to hear your thoughts. He's wearing the gray suit, which is a little callback.
Stripper heels.
Yeah. He appears to be in a strip club, so I'm guessing that he
Just
was
to fit
doing a little
in?
routine.
Yeah, he was dancing on he was on the pole, Roth.
Yeah.
You gotta have heels if you're on the pole.
Working the pole. With how much he gets shot, I hope he Windex the pole, and just
That's
kept
nice to
everything sanitary.
get all the fluids off.
Yeah.
That's very, very good. Terry Crews, who is the greatest thing that has ever been or ever will be, is in this film, you guys. Did you know that?
I didn't know that until I saw this thing.
Yeah, nor did I.
Yeah. So apparently he's playing Bedlam. So if you look at when he's looking through the photographs of how to cast the X-Force.
Oh, so yeah, well, putting a pin in that,
Yeah.
one of the photos he looks at was Rob Delaney.
Yeah.
My favorite large man from Catastrophe.
Yeah.
Is he in this? Is he a superhero now?
That's what I was going to ask us. Yeah, I think he is.
Okay.
Or he just
A cameo or something.
offered them his
That would be
headshot
great. Yeah.
because he was like, I don't know, that's funny. Fuck
Hey.
it. So Terry Crews is in this, apparently playing Bedlam. Joe, you want to tell us a little bit about who Bedlam is?
I can't tell you a whole lot about Bedlam, actually. There is a good swath of like mid-90s X-Men where it just got to be too much. Even for me when I was in middle school, where I was like, at some point in my brain, I had 600 X-Men characters up here and could tell you their names and powers and country of origin, and it's just kind of gone now. I think he was
Jesse Aronson.
I can't tell you who Bedlam is. I will tell you.
He can manipulate bioelectric fields.
So you can shoot stuff out of his body. That goes,
I can't even. I honestly, and I'm sorry, I'm failing all of you. I'll talk about Surge a whole lot here in a
Oh,
minute.
good. Let's talk about. We can get
But
to that.
I'd also be fine if he was just playing his character from his Axe Body Spray commercials. Like, that would also be awesome.
Just the power of his manliness alone
Yeah,
is
and
enough
somehow
to
they
unseat
become
you.
canon to the X films would also be great.
So Pennywise himself, Bill Skarsgård, was rumored to be in this film, and then we see him. He's sitting next to Domino on the plane. So I guess that's a confirmation. Do we have that shot of Bill Skarsgård? There he is, looking. I don't know if he's side-eyeing Domino or checking her out.
he is.
We believe that's him. He's rumored to be playing Zeitgeist, another kind of obscure X-Force comics member. But that's exciting.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say about. I love that they continue to pick D-listers. I think Shatterstar's in the background of that helicopter shot, who is just like the stupidest 90s swordsman character. Like, he's as dumb as it gets, and that's what I love about X-Force, is that it was in the 90s. It was just a particularly like on the nose.
This is very X-Men 1 though, with they're all in the black leather, jumpsuits.
Yeah.
I wish that they let
I'm
them
sure
go a
they'll
little.
make a comment about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, they'll comment.
That's
Like,
how you excuse everything. Just like, oh, that's stupid, and then
they'll
the
comment.
audience does,
Yeah.
and it's
Isn't X-Force a little on the nose? Yes.
Yes.
But I love their continuing use of D-list characters. They took
Negasonic
Teenage Warhead, which was a nothing character from the Grant Morrison X-Men run, and made her amazing and made her like this fan favorite. And I love that came from necessity, because they were like, Fox, what are we allowed to play with? And Fox was like, I don't know, here's some crap in a shoebox. And they're like, okay, and they're running with it, which
and
is
they
very
got
cool.
ego out of it.
Yeah.
We got ego,
That was
and
the
we
trade.
got Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah.
If you ask me, Deadpool got the better end of the deal.
They
Yeah,
kind
a
of
little bit.
did.
Ooh, shots fired. So here's another point. You were just saying Surge. So Shiori Kutsuna, and I hope I'm saying that properly, is the ex-person with the electrified chain link.
Surge.
We think that's Surge, yes?
Yeah, so
Or
she
Jolt.
Surge, Jolt, Jilt.
Or Buzz. Is there one called Buzz?
The
Zing.
Simpsons.
These are all colas.
Yeah.
For those of you at home.
I'm going to give you guys a zinger is you. What are you? Whippersnapper?
Oh, X-Force names?
Yeah.
Oh God.
The hammer.
Damn, why?
Well, if you go like 1993 X-Force, I'm gonna be like Blood Fist,
Yeah. You're laying
Yeah.
down the truth.
Skull
That's
knife.
why.
Skull Knife with the
Yeah.
mutant ability to develop knives out of his skull.
Yeah.
I'm Pouchfoot. I have
Pouchfoot?
pouches
Pouchfoot.
conveniently obscuring my feet.
Created by Rob Liefeld.
That's good.
Surge is actually one of my favorite like C-list X-Men characters. She was in they did this really cool comic called New X-Men that was X-Men continually like creates these new classes of mutants. They did New Mutants, and then there was Generation X, and then they did a comic called New X-Men, where they once again were like, okay, young children, come learn at our school, and realized it was a horrible idea because all these like racist terrorist groups were like, oh, that's where all the children are, and just it's like a pretty dark, screwed up book, but there are a lot of cool characters that came out of it, and Surge is one of them. I'm also just a sucker for like electrified mutant characters.
Sure.
The other being Skullfire from X-Men 2099. Deep cut, I'm making up for Bedlam. So I'm excited that she gets to be in a movie because I've been waiting for Marvel Comics to do something with her for years. Because the comic books do a pretty bad job of making New Mutants happen and matter. So no, I'm excited she's in the movie, if that's her. Fingers crossed.
There were two kind of plot reveals that I thought were pretty interesting. One is that Cable is coming back, obviously coming back in time to kill this kid. So it's kind of got a Looper vibe to me, but also the Terminator. He wants to kill this kid who seems to have some kind of firepower. This kid is played by Julian Dennison, and he is very polite. And that is his superpower. He's a lovely, well-mannered.
Yeah.
He actually is. He's a
Yeah,
well-mannered
very nice
young
kid.
man. In reality, not so much perhaps in this movie, but I kind of like that because look, I'm a time travel nerd. Can you be a time travel nerd? Can you be an addict of time travel things? So I think that's interesting because it does maybe pose an interesting conundrum where Cable's just like, no, this person's going to grow up and be horrible, and Deadpool is the one that's trying to save the kid. If you guys have seen Rian Johnson's Looper, very similar. Kind of a similar plot. I like that. And then also, do you guys notice they have the neck collars? Like, what's going on with that?
The little
Fans of the X-Men animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a storyline. I'm sure this is probably based on the comic. There was a storyline in the animated series where they sent the X-Men went to this on vacation. It was Jubilee and Gambit and Rogue, I believe. I don't remember. Anyway, they went on vacation to this island that was supposed to be like a haven for mutants, and they got captured, and they get these collars that suppress their powers, and that
rude.
looks very similar to that.
The Paradise Island of Genosha.
Genosha, yeah.
I can see that happening.
Cable
'cause-
also played into that story, and again in the animated series, Cable,
The Wild Man of
the
Borneo.
Wild Man of Borneo, showed up and kind of helped liberate all of the mutants that were captured in Genosha. It was a good episode of the series. There's Sentinels there, the whole thing.
They had
But I think
everything.
that might be where that collar comes from.
Yeah.
see.
If you like time travel stuff, then you will like the worst of some of what X-Men has to offer because they get real time travel heavy in these books. And the best way I honestly think to approach it is with Deadpool, to be like, what is all this? And just comment left and right about like, well, this is not going to be very new reader friendly and blah, 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 and blah, 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 because Cable mythology gets dense as hell. So I'm glad they're just ripping off the Band-Aid and having Deadpool point at it immediately and being like, this is dumb.
It was Storm. It was Cable.
It was-
I'm sorry. It was
right.
Gambit, Jubilee,
Storm.
and Storm because she
Storm.
used her powers for it to rain to mix concrete because they were building a dam. Because they were
Building a
building a
dam.
dam, and
As you
everyone
do.
used her powers to build the dam. And I just remember her going like, and it rained into the. It was Storm. And then they threw her in the hot box, and she was claustrophobic. Did not
that
like
did
it.
not work out well for her.
Did not like that. You said you could see this happening. Why, Spencer?
Oh, the collars thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because Deadpool's I love it because it's like fun and it's kind of a comedy, but it's a pretty stakes-free character when he's immortal and can regenerate from a single atom and yada yada yada. So, much like with Superman, what do? You take the powers away.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
give him a little risk, and like he's not used to this. Ow, that really hurt. I think that's like you write yourself into a corner when you have an immortal hero.
Yeah, I love that. I love when they take away their powers, and I think that's a little underrated in the old Superman too.
In the old what now?
The old what?
It was when they did it with Superman.
Well, I wonder if,
The Superman
like in
trumpet.
Superman 2, if Deadpool's gonna get the crap beat out of him by a trucker without powers, and then he comes back like a dick and just beats him up at the end. He's like Superman, and screw you, I can do what I want.
Honestly, yeah, I can.
I'm sorry, that was a dick move. It
It
was
is.
a real dick move.
But I also
But
think
you
if,
also
if they
get
do
it.
a powerless thing, I think calling that shot on them doing that reference is
Yeah,
safe bet.
that would
Yeah.
be amazing. Also, I mean, it is a dick move, but he wanted to be human, and what is more human than to be petty and vengeful? I mean, he achieved his goals 100%. Here's a little Easter egg that I don't know if you guys noticed, but Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Blake Lively, Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds' wife, is in that movie.
He calls
So
it
there
like
you
a
go.
porno or
He
something?
calls it a porno.
That's going in the IMDb
Yeah.
trivia.
I didn't even really understand that final joke where he's like, it's a porno, and then Domino says like, I wish I went to college. Like,
Yeah.
She didn't want to be there.
oh, because she doesn't want. Okay, I just thought she was like, I wish I knew as much as you did about porno and the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. So okay, it went over my head. I'm sorry, I'm not as sophisticated as the Deadpool trailer.
Audience seems to be. Well, I will say I really love the trailer. I'm very excited for this film. Legitimately, I think it looks like a lot of fun. The buzzwords that they fed to the Hollywood Reporter the other day when they talked about come on, that's what happened. When they talked about the test screenings were, oh, this is a deeper film. It's got higher stakes. There's more going on. So on and so forth. Again, I liked that there were almost no stakes in the last movie and it still really worked, but you've got to do something different with this one. So we'll see what the stakes are. Apparently this kid's life.
Yeah,
That's stakes.
See,
that's
who
something.
knows?
The life of a
Little
child.
boy.
Big movie.
Big movie, lots of things. Speaking of superheroes, so Chris Evans, once again, says that he is done after Avengers 4. So this is an interview with the New York Times. He said, quote, "You want to get off the train before they push you off."
Like Bucky.
Literally.
Burn, Dan.
Or Snowpiercer.
Great movie.
A lot of train stuff.
Trains. He said he expects the planned reshoots in the fall. I guess there are planned reshoots in the fall, by the way. Will mark the end of his tenure in the familiar red, white, and blue super suit. Does this confirm, as we believe, that Captain America will probably die in one of these, either of this one, Infinity War, or the one after? 2, will somebody else take on the Cap mantle? And 3, is that just not the most tragic character ever? At that point, Billy and I were talking about this. Like, he's just had the worst life.
I feel like he said this before. My
Yes.
neurons
He
are
has
firing about
definitely said
speaking
this
about
before.
this before. But I think he said this before, but it is a good question as we get closer. It is kind of a tragic character. I think he might retire. They might just retire him.
Mm-hmm.
He's earned it. If you defeat Thanos or whatever happens in Avengers 4, whatever that's gonna be, if it's with Skrulls or who knows, or more Thanos, I think if you get past that, maybe he's earned a little bit of a retirement. So I don't know if it's confirmation he's gonna die necessarily, but
Buys himself a nice little place
yeah,
somewhere.
build a
Hawkeye's
cabin
farm.
next to Hawkeye's
Hawkeye's farm,
and,
yeah.
start a co-op.
I
Little
mean-
B&B, Airbnb.
Yeah.
Or
Don't
just
you want him to
regular
find a
B&B.
nice lady?
He
Settle
found-
down.
I feel
Yeah.
like he
It
had
never works out.
Agent
He's
Carter.
got Bucky.
He has
he's,
America.
right. He's got America.
Yeah, and she is quite a mistress.
and you're right, and Bucky. So he has the love of his life already.
I don't know. I
James
think
Bucky
he's had a
Barnes.
very sad, messed up life. That's how I read this character. At that point, if he dies, I'm like, Captain America.
Yeah, if you think of him as like a teenager, and then World War II, and then just 90 years of blankness, and then he wakes up and it's like Civil War.
Yeah.
Then it's been a pretty tough life.
Right? It's been horrible. He wakes up and the woman that he loved is now like 200.
Yeah.
You know, and then he's like, well, I like her niece. That's weird. This guy has had it rough. Cut him a break. Cut him a break. I am so unabashedly Team Cap.
As
I
long as
want it
him
to
and
work out
Bucky
for
kiss
him.
before it happens,
They'll
I
make
think
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really.
But I like him making love to America itself at the end of him just digging a hole in the ground in Hawkeye's yard and just going at it. Credits.
Yeah. Like American Pie. That's how the last shot we see of Captain America.
Or is it like? Is it with the physically America the ground, or is it
Yes.
with like the Liberty Bell or something?
No, he wouldn't do that to a landmark. He loves the land. He loves her amber
But is
waves of
it-
grain,
so
her
are
purple
we
mountains,
saying-
majesty.
So is that an expression of his affection, or
Yes.
is it a defilement?
No,
No.
this is doubly consensual. America and
America
Cap
loves
are.
him.
It's just a
Yeah.
match made.
What if he gets knocked out and wakes up and Tommy Lee Jones is standing over him and is like, "It didn't work, kid," and this whole thing has just been a dream?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That'd be something.
And then his big lollipop head just like wanders back down to Brooklyn and he starts a artisanal pickle company.
And he has a better life for it. There you go.
probably.
Don't crave to be the person you're not. Be skinny. I think that's the lesson. I think that's the lesson of Captain America, if we had to distill it down to one
Yeah.
thought. Slash Film is reporting that at the Ready Player One press conference in Hollywood, a journalist asked Steven Spielberg if he would ever consider going back and digitally altering one of his own movies, similar to what George Lucas did with Star Wars. They may have forgotten that Spielberg actually did that with
Yeah.
E.T., and here's what Steven Spielberg had to say. Quote, when E.T. was re-released, I actually digitized 5 shots where E.T. went from being a puppet to a digital puppet, boo. And I also replaced the gun. When the FBI runs up to the van, now they have walkie-talkies. So there's a really bad version of E.T. where I took my cue from Star Wars and all the
Damn.
digital enhancements of A New Hope that George put in. I went ahead because the marketing at Universal thought we needed something to get the audience in to see the movie. So I
shots
did a
fired, Steve.
so I did a few touch-ups in the film. He went on to say that in those days, social media wasn't as, and I love this word, profound as it is today. But what was just beginning erupted in a loud negative voice about, quote, how could you ruin my favorite childhood film by taking the guns away and putting walkie-talkies in their hands? Among other things.
And social media was born.
And social
the
media was
rage of
born.
1,000 whiny nerds.
And he said, so I learned a big lesson. That's the last time I ever decided to mess with the past. What's done is done, and I'll never go back into another movie I made or have control over to enhance or change it. Thoughts?
I was one of those whiny nerds. Yeah, it was completely unnecessary. He turned E.T.'s face into, it's more than 5 shots. Every face shot of E.T. was like
Dumb.
animated.
That puppet was
It was
perfection.
computer animated, and the eyes and the mouth was computer animated, and it looked awful. And I remember watching it, just going like, "What? This is completely useless and unnecessary and stupid." So I was one of those whiny nerds. It was a verifiably inferior version of E.T., and I'm glad that he sees that, because it was a stupid idea. But I also am sure that Universal was just like, oh, the Star Wars special edition has just made $200 million, so you've got to
Yeah.
do this. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And George Lucas was, yeah, it's a good idea.
Well, I have a feeling-
Fix the past, burn it down if you have to,
No guns.
Stephen.
Fix
Kill
the-
the past.
Kill the past. It's time for the original.
In many ways,
cut of these
George
to
Lucas was
end.
the Ryan Johnson of his day.
I have a. Whoa.
He killed the past.
He burned it.
He burned it.
Wow.
Billy Business. Billy Business is not a huge fan of E.T., and I just developed a theory. Did you see the wrong version? Did you see the wrong E.T.? Is that what happened to you?
He says, I don't think there's a right E.T. For him.
You know what?
For him.
Who hurt you, Billy?
E.T., apparently. That big finger. Uh-oh.
Is there any movie of Spielberg's that you would want him to go back and mess with?
Of his? Oh, The Terminal. I don't know. Just add a...
More walkie-talkies in the terminal.
walkie-talkies to The Terminal.
There were a lot of walkie-talkies
Yeah.
in the terminal already.
Replace the walkie-talkies with guns. Spice it up a little.
That would up the stakes significantly if
I would.
someone was pointing a gun at Tom Hanks every 5 minutes in that movie.
I want my niece and nephew to feel more comfortable watching Jaws, so I would replace the shark's teeth with walkie-talkies.
That's not a bad idea.
That's more terrifying. Ah! kill you with technology, which I already know is going to happen.
You know, if the internet had existed, he wouldn't have done this at all, because when I remember sort of hearing about what George Lucas was going to do with these special editions, and we all went, cool, and then we all immediately saw them and went, oh God, this is a nightmare trash fire. And if the internet had existed, that would have been the story that weekend, where we all went, what have we asked for? No! And then the studio would have said, you know what, let's hands off E.T. a little bit, because this was a bad idea. Back in the day, the ship was just moving a little slower.
Yeah, we should do a list of the worst decisions made by marketing teams. Is that a list you want to do, Dan?
Do we ever want to go to a screening again? Because if we shit on every studio's marketing department, then I think they're going to lose our email address.
We can go 20 years in the past or 30 years in the past.
That's true. Let's go crap on MCA.
Yeah.
I'll do it, guys. I have nothing to lose with screening invites.
All right, it's on
Orion and
Spencer.
TriStar.
Teach us how to hate, man. There's no movie fights today, but there are other things for you to enjoy, including us this weekend live at WonderCon.
Anaheim.
Ooh, it's going to be a rumble. There's going to be 2 honest trailers.
Never before seen.
Never before seen. One is going to be a big reveal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and one will be a surprise that's you've literally never seen. Well,
Neither of them
you will have seen before. One of them you will not be able to see later.
Anywhere but Anaheim.
Anywhere but Anaheim. And the other one, I mean, we're marketing this a little bit. The other one, we are premiering the honest trailer for Star Wars: The Last Jedi at WonderCon. So if you want a sneak peek, and we were working on it yesterday, recording some stuff, and today, and I think it's going to be really funny.
It's going to be good.
So you should come see us.
Then we're going to movie fight.
I'm taking on this guy.
That's right. It is 2-on-2. So next week it'll be back to 3 people. But live, Roth, you and I, others.
Bringing the heat.
I don't know who, but I imagine we're bringing friends.
Dan and Choi.
I will be facing off against Choi, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah. We're going to answer the big questions. I'm actually looking forward to our debate.
Oh, mine's going to be so stupid.
Good.
Yeah.
Then I'll win. That's good news.
Stupid like a fox.
Yeah, nothing you do is going to be stupid. You're such a liar right now.
Well, we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
We have also today on the main channel, we will have a little bit of John Cena for you to enjoy. He's talking about his mother and how she's a saint, among other things, little eggplant things. Leslie Mann, Ike Barinthal.
Is this a thing?
Yeah, you can't see him.
Okay.
What else do we have that we want people? Ooh, there's going to be a great thing this weekend on the main channel. Serious Questions is going to return. It's going to be about The Last Jedi. And these questions are hot. So you're going to want to pick them up and then
questions.
Yeah, we want to piss
let
off.
it cool off to a reasonable degree and then just embrace it. What you want to do with those questions.
We want to piss off the entire internet. So we're going to do Serious Questions this weekend and then The Last Jedi next week.
There's a lot.
We're gonna burn the internet down.
Yeah.
Kill it
if you have to.
Kill it if we have to.
Yeah.
Just at this point, why not?
Well,
right?
yeah. I mean, I feel like, again, returning to the lesson of Superman and humanity, if you've got to go, take everything with you. So with that, we will burn your day down. Thank you for joining us today. Dan Murrell,
Yes.
words of wisdom.
Stay tuned later for a review of Ready Player One.
We will be reviewing
Today.
Ready Player One later today. Thank you guys, and we will see you tomorrow.
I still can't even picture Bedlam in the comics.